歪んだ対抗意識ね。意地になっているのかも。でもね、もしタイムマシンを作ることができたらクリスのことを救えるかもって。
やめろ。
This was awful. Why bring it up now? Maho was still haunted by Kira's death just as much as I was.
バカなことは考えるな。
岡部さん、
マキセクリスを救おうなんて考えるんじゃない。そんな可能性はゼロなんだ。神の摂理がそれを許さない。
やっぱりあなた、やっぱり何か知っているのね。
Maho got closer to me.
もしかして実現させたの？クリスはタイムマシンを完成させている。あなたはそれに乗ってすでに人類初のタイムトラベルを行ったんでしょ？そうなんだわ。
根拠があって言っているのか。
I pretended to remain calm. Maho seemed shocked at her own words.
ごめんなさい。
Excuse me.
私どうかしているわ。こんな妄想を口にするなんて。
ヒアジョさん。
Maho started to cry. I didn't know what to do when she started crying right in front of me.
どうしたのかしら。私こんな急に全然泣くつもりなんて。
She used her fingers to wipe away the tears. She seemed pretty unstable. I could sense a lot more fragility than I had seen before. She looked like she'd been psychologically pushed to the limit. All the things she's experienced must have taken a toll on her. When we were talking on video chat, I hadn't seen any signs of that at all. Should I tell her? If she was researching a time machine, that was a bad sign. She might start looking into things and open doors that should remain closed. If that was the case, I should tell her what I experienced and then have her give up, just like I did.
わかった。俺が経験したことを話そう。絶対に誰にも他言無用だ。それともう一度これだけは言っておく。マキセクリスを救おうとは考えるな。いいな。
She nodded as she wiped away the tears. I told her about the events in the Alpha World line, about the time machine, about reading Steiner, about the method of sending memories back through time that I called a time leap, about how Kiriso had developed a time leap machine that made this possible, about Suzuha Amane, the time traveler from the year 2036, about the future Suzuha had told us about in the Third World War, and how the race to develop a time machine would set off that war. I told her all these things, as matter-of-factly as I could, and how Kiriso died. I couldn't tell her that. When I told her everything, she fell silent for a bit. She took a deep breath forward, or frowned, and rubbed her temples.
頭が痛いわ。
すべて信じる必要はない。俺の頭がおかしいと思っても構わない。だが、もし君がタイムマシンの研究を続けてマキセクリスを救おうとするなら、俺はどんな手段を使っても止めるつもりだ。だから変な考えは捨てるんだ。自分を追い詰めるのはよせ。
I was about to say more, but Maho put her hand up to stop me.
もう少し整理させて。あなたの言うリーディングシュタイナーって新型脳炎のことじゃないの？レスキネン教授が話していた症状と同じだわ。
そうだな。そうかもしれない。レスキネン教授には話すべきかどうかまだ迷っているんだ。無用な混乱を招くかもしれないし。君はどう思う？
私に聞かないで。
Maho was still massaging her temples with her fingers.
そうだな。すまない。
あなたはクリスのノート PC を本当に破壊してしまったの？
ああ、壊した。
中身は見た？
ロックの解除方法がわからなかったんだ。見ようがない。
Even Daro said he couldn't do it. There was no way I could do it on my own.
あなたはクリスが書いたタイムマシーンに関するオリジナルの論文を読んだの？
いや。
Maho kept asking me questions. She seemed to be in some kind of strange hurry.
あなたはクリスがどうやってタイムリープマシーンを完成させたか知っているの？
おおよそはな。
再現できる？
どうだろうか。ダルの助けがあれば、あるいは。
できるのね。
俺一人じゃ難しい。
私なら。
そんなことは考えるな。
Maho suddenly grimaced as if she was in pain. I realized how pale she was.
ヒヤジョーさん、大丈夫か？
Did she really have a headache or something?
少し横になるか？
But she shook her head and kept asking questions.
タイムマシンは今どこにあるの？鈴葉さんが乗ってきたという。それはどこに？
お
どこなの？
I wasn't sure if I should say without Suzuha's permission.
秋葉原だ。
Maho looked so desperate that I found myself answering her question.
ラジカンの屋上に今もある。
そう。
Her shoulders slumped and her head drooped. I was worried that she might ask to see it for herself, but maybe she really was sick.
本当に平気か？
I put my hand on her shoulder and looked at her face.
今日はもう休んだ方が。
There was no warning at all. Maho's tiny body slammed into me. The force was enough to push me back to the wall.
何を？
Before I knew what was happening, her arm was against my throat. She was using the bone in her arm to put pressure on my windpipe. Welcome to Bad Ending. I couldn't breathe or speak. I twisted my body and tried to resist, still clueless as to what was going on. Then she used her other hand to grab my head and slam it back into the wall. Her strength was incredible. I was a lot bigger than she was, but I still couldn't escape her grasp.
残念だわ、岡部さん。
Her voice was very dark and very cold. And suddenly she moaned again, and her face twisted in pain.
頭が割れそうよ。
She was crying again.
なんで私に話してくれたのよ。あなたは黙っているべきだったのに。
I couldn't escape. I grabbed onto her long hair and tried to pull her away, but she didn't move at all. It was as if she felt no pain. My phone had been vibrating in my pocket for a while now. I desperately grabbed for it. I pressed the button without even looking at the screen. Please answer, Kirisu. I was blacking out. Was I going to die here? Not even knowing why Maho was trying to kill me? But the whole time she was strangling me, Maho looked like she was in so much pain. And wait, was she still crying? Before I could figure it out if her tears were real or an act, I passed out. When I woke up, my throat hurt. Probably would. I tried to cover my mouth with my hands, but something was keeping them from moving. I opened my eyes and saw that I was sitting in some kind of chair with my head facing downwards. I slowly raised my head. My hands were tied to the armrest with zip ties. When I tried to break out, the ties dug into my skin and hurt very badly. I tried looking around. It was a room I'd never seen before. There were machines that looked like they belonged in the operating room of a hospital. But the wall was also lined with monitors, like some kind of guard room or control room. I couldn't see any windows, so I had no idea where I was. My throat hurt when I tried to talk. And then I remembered that Maho had almost killed me. Why had she done that? I felt more confused and angry.
Yeah, Rintaro. Mega Sameta kai?
I heard footsteps and saw a wavering shadow beneath the dim fluorescent lights in front of me. I knew that voice.
Leskinen. Kyoju.
気分はどうかな喉が渇いたなら水を用意させるよ
When I looked up again, I saw that he wasn't alone. There were several men behind him in black suits. They were looking at me without saying a word. All of them were holding guns. They looked like MIBs and reminded me of the foreigners I'd almost ran into at Darlow's shop 6 months ago. Or was it the same group? There were a lot of things I wanted to ask, but more than anything, I wanted to know why Dr. Leskinen wasn't helping me. Of course, the first thing that came to mind was the obvious answer. It was Dr. Leskinen who had put me here, and Maho had captured me under his orders. But I didn't want to think about that. So all I could ask was a stupid question like that.
私の目に狂いはなかったよ君はまさに情報の宝庫だ今や合衆国大統領にも匹敵する価値のある人物と言ってもいい
He didn't answer me, but he showed me a self-satisfied smile. I could feel alarm bells going off in my head. I was getting more suspicious of Dr. Leskinen, as you should.
監禁というよりは保護と言った方がいいだろうね君の価値が明らかになれば狙ってくる連中はたくさん出てくるはずだからね
レスキネン教授が指示したんですか
そうだよ私がこうすべきだと判断した魔法から君の持つ情報について聞いてね
ヒアジョウさんはどこです
ホテルで休んでるんじゃないかな
ヒアジョウさんは俺から情報を引き出すために近づいてきたんですか
最初はそうではなかったよ結果的にはそうなったけれどね
あなたも俺に親切にしてくれたのもそういう打算があったからですかあなたは一体何者なんです
まあまあ落ち着けなさい前に教えただろう科学者たるもの常に冷静でなければいけない興奮していいのは実験が成功した時だけだと
Instead of feeling calm, Dr. Leskinen's attitude was pissing me off. I felt betrayed. There was rage, frustration, sorrow, and a lot of other feelings all mixed together as I gritted my teeth. Dr. Leskinen ignored me and gave a brief order in English to the other men. They left the room. Only Dr. Leskinen and I remained.
さて、リンタロウ。私のもう一つの仕事の話をしよう。
もう一つの仕事。
It was then that I remembered the other world line that I'd been sent to. Shimayama had told me that an American organization had demanded that I be turned over.
CIA か NSC か
But Dr. Leskinen only chuckled.